This podcast is a collaboration between Costard and Touchstone Productions and the Dads from the Crypt podcast. Hello everyone, I'm Alan Katz. Welcome to a special bonus episode of the How Not to Make a Movie podcast. Alan and Jason go to CreepIE-Con. This past weekend was the CreepIE-Con horror convention in Ontario, just outside of Los Angeles. It's not one of the big horror conventions, but being as it's here in Southern California, it attracts a fair amount of on-screen talent for signings and photo ops, because proximity. Now, I really hadn't been to a horror convention before. I went to Comic-Con a bunch of years ago, the year they first started releasing Tales from the Crypt DVDs. We did a panel discussion and it was a blast. I really had a lot of fun doing it. As Gil and I are about to unleash a streaming horror series upon the marketplace and then hopefully the world, it seemed like a good time for me, for us, to go into the horror convention world and get into the flow of it. So I called Jason Stein, my other partner in crime on this enterprise, and I said, "Hey Jason, you want to go?" And Jason said, "Yeah, sure, of course I'd love to go." And so on Saturday, Jason and I headed out to the Ontario Convention Center and CreepIE-Con. So Jason and I are at the, what's this called again?
The CreepIE-Con.
CreepIE-Con in Ontario, California. This is every year?
Yeah, I believe so. It's the first time I've been to this one.
Huh. And in the pecking order, this one's kind of...
Well, it's IE, so it's lower population, but, it's the only one in this area, but they had a great crew. Most of the people from Terrifier 2 are going to be here, so that's really cool.
Cool.
And James and Chelsea from Dead Meat, and I think a lot of the Scream cast, I think Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard. Maybe Jamie Kennedy. I have to double check.
All right.
But a lot of the Scream cast. So yeah, and so far there's been a great turnout from what we can see.
What are you looking forward? As you walk in the door, what are you looking forward to?
I'm a huge Felissa Rose fan from Sleepaway Camp and many others. I've met her a good handful of times, but she's always in the light, and she's always fun to be around. Well,
hey, let's hit the floor.
All right.
Turned out there were two conventions going on, CreepIE-Con and the California Future Farmers of America Association. As Jason pointed out, one of these two things is not like the other. And here we are. So this is well attended.
Yeah.
Cool. Being a smaller affair, there weren't any panels, but there was lots of merch and tables where the fans could get autographs and photos. The talent lineup was respectable. The cast of Scream, Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, Jamie Kennedy, Lee Waddell, Lauren Levera, Elliot Fulham, Alex Winter, and we also had a few friends in the house. Chelsea Rebecca and James Janice, the hosts of the Dead Meat podcast. Gil and I would like them to do a show with us, a streaming horror series called Are You Afraid? Stay tuned. Lots of cosplay on display. Starting young, too. Also on the talent roster was Walter Phelan, who I'd worked with on Crypt and Demon Knight.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I worked with Todd on that. I had just started the business, and then I was in, did Vampires while they were up in the snow. I forget what that was. Comes the Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
And then did Staring Horror, played the old man in that. It was actually the first thing I kind of did in front of camera. Was doing Staring Horror. Yeah. And then did the Vampire guy, and then did Demon Knight. It was like, hey, old school. It's just the same, but that's like the second one. It's like, I love that movie. I grew up on that movie. Oh my God, they're always so excited. I know.
But it's awesome to hear. Well,
yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
And then there's the merch, and the merch, and the merch. great, even for the dogs. I love the imagination of it all. It's fantastic.
Parents of the kids are now with the conventions.
And yeah, so horrorware for kids.
Oh, did he buy one?
Jason's daughter is into Wednesday Addams, and so he's thinking about buying her a T-shirt. Yeah, Wednesday Addams T-shirt. She likes Wednesday Addams. There it is. You got one. You got it. You're such a good dad.
Try.
That's all we can ever do, man.
The kids love us for sale, and I'm buying.
There you go. You know, the most striking thing about the horror community, and the horror community already knows this about themselves, they're some of the sweetest people on the planet. And it is downright fun watching them have fun. I'm not too sure about that little Leatherface, though. See you next time. The How Not to Make a Movie podcast is executive produced by me, Alan Katz, by Gil Adler, and by Jason Stein. Our artwork was done by the amazing Jody Webster, and Jason Jody, along with Mando, are all the hosts of the fun and informative Dads from the Crypt podcast. Follow them for what my old pal the Crypt Keeper would have called terrific crypt content.